Karina baby, Mama loves you and Mama misses you, and I can't wait to see you. One of my friends from high school got you a bunch of stuff. I don't know what it is yet. Mama's super grateful. Mama's super grateful. And I can't wait to see you. I am so... Mama just loves you, baby. Alright, so Drakestail. Drakestail was very little, that is why he was called Drakestail. But tiny as he was, he had brains and he knew what he was about. For having begun with nothing, he ended by amusing 100 crows. Now the king of the county, who was very extravagant and never kept any money, having heard that Drakestail had some, went one day in his own person to borrow his hoard. And, my word, in those days Drakestail was not a little proud of having lent money to the king. But after the first and second year, seeing that they never even dreamed of paying the interest, he became uneasy. So much so that at last he resolved to go and see his majesty himself and get repaid. So one fine morning, Drakestail, very spruce and fresh, takes the road singing, "Quack, quack, quack, when shall I get my money back?" He had not gone far when he met Friend Fox on his rounds. "Good morning, neighbor," says the friend. "Where are you off to so early?" "I'm going to the king for what he owes me." "Oh, take me with thee," Drakestail said to himself. One cannot have too many friends. How very true. One cannot have too many friends, baby. "I will," says he, "but going on all yourself, quite small, get into my throat and on to my gizzard, and I will carry you." "Happy thought," says Friend Fox. So these bags and beggards, and presto, is gone like a letter into the post, and Drakestail is off again, and spruce and fresh, still singing, "Quack, quack, quack, when shall I have my money back?" He had not gone far when he met his lady friend Ladder, leaning on her wall. "Good morning, my duckling," says the lady friend. "Whither away so boldly?" "I am going to the king for what he owes me." "Oh, take me with thee," Drakestail said to himself. One cannot have too many friends. "I will," says he, "but with your wooden legs you will soon be tired. Make yourself quite small, go into my throat and onto my gizzard, and I will carry you." "Oh, happy thoughts," says my friend Ladder, and noble bag and baggage goes to keep company with Friend Fox. And quack, 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 Drakestail is off again, singing and spruce, and before a little farther he meets a sweetheart, my friend River, wandering quite quietly in the sunshine. "Thou me cherub," she says, "whether so lonesome, with arching tail, and this muddy road, I am going to the king. You know for what he owes me." "Oh, take me with thee," Drakestail said to himself. We cannot be too many friends. "I will," said he, "but you who sleeps while you walk will soon be tired. Make yourself quite small and go into my throat, go on to my gizzard, and I will carry you." "Ah, happy thoughts," says my friend River. So she takes a bag and baggage, and glue, 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 she takes her place between Friend Fox and my friend Ladder, and quack, 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 Drakestail is off again, singing a little further. Oh, he meets comrade Wasp Nest. Marvelous, he marveling his wasps Well, good morning, friend Drakestail, said Comrade Waspnest. Where are you bound for? So spruce and so fresh. I am going to the king for what he owes me. Oh, take me with thee, Drakestail said to himself. One cannot have too many friends. I will, says he, but with your balatin and drag along, you will soon be tired. Make yourself quite small, go into my throat, and get on my gizzard, and I will carry you. By Jove, that's a good idea, says Comrade Waspnest. And he left flying. He takes the same road to join the others with all of his party. There was not much more room, but by closing up a bit, they managed, and Drake still is off again singing. He arrived this at the capital and throated his way straight up to the high street, still running and singing, quack, quack, quack. When shall I get my money back? To the great astonishment of... So look at, here's the photo. See Drakestail and the fox? Look at how big that fox is. He must have made himself so incredibly small. See the ladder? Well, see, he has the wasp nest. He has the river. So he has so many things in his throat right now, baby. He's going to see that king. Good folks, till he come to see the king's palace, he strokes with a knocker, tick, tock, tock. Who is there? Asked the porter, pulling his head out of the whisket. 'Tis I, Drakestail. I wish to speak to the king. Speak to the king? That's easily said. The king is dining and will not be disturbed. Tell him that it is I, and I have come. He will knows why. The porter shouts his whisks, and he goes up and he says to the king, who was sitting down to dinner with a napkin round his neck, and all of his ministers, Good, good, says the king, laughing. I know what it is. Make him come in, and put him with the turkey and the chickens. The porter decides, Have the goodness to enter. Good, says Drakestail to himself. I shall now see how they eat at court. And why this way, says the porter. One step further. There you are. How, what? In the poultry yard? Fancy how vexed Drakestail was. Ah, that's it, says he. Wait, I will compel you to receive me. Quack, quack, quack. When shall I get my money back? But turkeys and chickens are creatures who don't like people that are not as themselves. When they saw the newcomer and how he was made, and when they heard him crying, too, they began to look black at him. What is it? What does he want? Finally they wrestled at him all together and overwhelmed him with picks. I am lost, says Drakestail to himself, when by good luck he remembers his comrade friend Fox, and he cries, Renard, Renard, come out of your earth. Oh, Drakestail, life is a little worth. The friend Fox, who was only waiting for these words, hastened out, throws himself on the wicked fowls, and quick quack his tears, he tears them to pieces. So much so that at the end of the 5 minutes there was not one left alive. And Drakestail, quite content, began to sing again, quack, 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 when shall I get my money back? When the king, who was still at the table, heard this refrain, and the poultry women came to tell him what had been going on in the yard, he was terribly annoyed. He ordered them to throw this tail of a drake into the well to make an end of him. Oh my, do you see what happened? So Drakestail gave money to the king, And now the king is trying to just get rid of him. Oh my. Sometimes when people rise up to power, they forget where they came from. And it was done as he commanded. Drakestail was in despair of getting himself out of such a deep hole when he remembered a lady friend, the ladder. Ladder, ladder, come out of thy hold. Oh, Drakestail, days will soon be told. My friend Ladder, who will only waiting for these words, hastened out, lends her 2 arms to the edges, and nimbly on her back, and hop he is in the yard, where he began to sing louder than ever, when the king, who was still at the table and laughing at this good trick he had played his creditor, heard him again reclaiming his money, he became livid with rage. I commanded that this furnace should be heated and this tail of a drake thrown into it, because he must be a sorcerer. The furnace was soon hot, but this time Drakestail was not so afraid. He continued on his sweetheart, my friend River. River, river, outward flow, or to death Drakestail must go. My friend River hastened out and throws himself onto the furnace, which she floods with all the people who had lit it. After which she flowed gurgling into the hall of the palace to the height more than 4 feet, and Drake's, still quite content, begins to swim, singing defiantly, quack, 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 when shall I get my money back? The king while still at the table, and thought himself quite sure of his game, but when he heard Drakestail singing again, and when they told him that all had passed, he became furious and got up from the table, brandishing his fist. Bring him here, and I'll cut his throat. Bring him here, quack, cried he. He quietly 2 footmen ran to fetch Drakestail. At last, said the poor chap, covering up the great stairs, they had decided to recover him. Imagine his terror when, on entering, he sees the king as red as a turkey cock, and all his ministers attending him, standing towards on a hand. He thought this time it was all up to him. Happily he remembered that there was still one remaining friend, and he cried with dying accents, Waspness, waspness, make a sally. O Drakestail, nevermore may rally. Alright, here he goes. Here upon the scene changes. Bzz, bzz, bayonet them. The brave waspness rushes out with all his wasps, and he throws themselves on the infuriated king and his ministers, and stung them so fiercely in the face that they lost their heads. And now, not knowing where to hide themselves, they all jumped pell-mell from the windows and broke their necks on the pavement. Behold, Drakestail, much astonished, all alone in the big salon and master of the field. He could not get over it. Nevertheless, he remembered shortly what he had come for to the palace, and improving the occasion, he set to work to hunt for his dear money. But in vain he rumbled in all the drawers. He found nothing, and he had been spent. And fastening thus from room to room, he came at last to the one with the throne in it. and feeling fainted, he sat himself down in it to think over his adventure. In the meanwhile, the people have found their king and his ministers with their feet in the air on the pavement, and they had gone into the palace to know how it had occurred. On entering the throne room, when the crowd saw that there was already someone in the royal seat, they broke out in cries of surprise and joy. "The king is dead! Long live the king! Heaven has sent us down this thing." Drakestail was no longer surprised at anything. Received the accolations of the people as if he had never done anything else at all in his life. A few of them certainly murmured that a Drakestail would make a fine king. Those who knew him replied that a knowing Drakestail was a more worthy king than a spendthrift like him who was lying in the pavement. In short, they ran and took the crown off the head of the deceased and placed it on that of the Drakestail, whom it fitted like wax. Thus he began king. "And now," said he after the ceremony, "ladies and gentlemen, let's go to supper. I am hungry." Oh, the Drakestail became king. Alrighty then. Alright. Alright, Karina, baby. Mama loves you, baby. Mama loves you so very much, and I can't wait to actually read you storybooks in person. Because I used to love to read you storybooks. Every morning we'd do school, and we'd pick out books, and we'd go wherever you wanted, and you'd listen to storybooks by other people. And because I take you to the library to listen to either Miss Lisa or Miss Michelle to read you books, or we'd go to the park and we'd do books there. And we always had so much fun on our adventures. And Mama just loves you. Mama would always let you just do whatever you wanted. And you always had a ton of fun. You always had a ton of fun. I can't wait to hold you and to hug you and to take you places and just to tell you how much I love you. Because I do. I love you and I miss you. And I can't wait to see you. So, I'm going to put this down as Drakestail, I believe. Yeah. So, Mama just loves you, baby. Mama always wanted to be a very good mama to you. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. Anyone can change anything on paper, but that doesn't change who you actually are, honey. Never will. I love you. Always do good. Always be good. I know you're always good. I love you, baby. And remember, Papa always used to say that Papa's my moon, and I'm his sun, and you're a rainbow, baby. No matter what, we love you. We love you to the ends of the earth. I love you to the ends of the earth. And you make choices in this world, and if you choose to stick up for your family, that's what you choose to do. So, Mama loves you, baby. I will always love you.